Singleton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, oh, tell Ms. Pearson and Ms. Rose, I need them to witness this presentation that the DA gonna make. Yes, sir. And tell your boss to come in here too, because he needs to see it. We got somebody? Oh, man. Man. Oh. Do we have a William Thornton? He probably just signed in. Michelle Krosky? Here. Huh? Oh, you wanna? Yes, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning.
Morning.
I come to you all asking that, if possible, that I get a small donation with some asphalt in a road on the county, which is considered private road. Half belongs to you all, half belongs to private property, because 30 years ago, someone wouldn't give up their right-of-way, and no one never came back asking for the right-of-way to be given up. I only was able to do a small portion of the road, the beginning. I provided you all pictures through your county cell phones this morning, as well as I've gave you paperwork. I couldn't get the equipment moved under $8,000, and every year it's going up, but that's the least expensive, which only did the length of you all from where you're sitting at. So I was coming to you to ask that I've received a $5,000. I don't know why when I made copies, the grant, the signature did not come through. I guess because she signed in green. But I've done whatever I need to do to get Byrne to give me $5,000 to work on that road. And I'm not giving up to have my road, as well as the community as a whole, for our road to look like everybody else's road, for kids that comes in the neighborhood when I do my back-to-school event and can't ride their bikes and can't ride the hoverboard. It's a little more difficult to ride on gravel. So here's a layout. I wasn't able to get I didn't have no more paper. And the layout I have, the little asphalt I done, started right here. This is the end of the road. This is my house in the red. It stopped right here. I would love for you all, even though you're not part of my district, I would love for you all to come out and, as a whole, even if it's when the back-to-school event, it's just that, and I would even reschedule my back-to-school event on a day that's not the day that National Night Out, where everybody's doing it, which is that Tuesday. I would schedule it on a different time just for you all to come out and see the community as a whole.
Ms. Krosky, I got your email. You asked for $3,000,
Yes, sir.
and that's going to be added to the $5,000 that you have.
Yes, sir.
And what will that do? How?
That'll cover the bill that I've already paid, the stuff I've already done, because as a whole, I lied to my community and told them that I was gonna be receiving $10,000 after we was mixed up with another community. And I wanted to show them, put forth the effort. It was on the last segment. I was misled, and I was told that we was donating money for the road. We never got any funds for the road. We only got a donation of a pipe and some gravel. We've never got any asphalt. So to do the whole road from back in 2017 is $33,000. And back in 2017, I didn't know nothing about bonds. I found out about bonds in 2017, right when Andrew Hall left. So to do the whole, now they're saying it's like $45,000, because they're saying everything's gone up. So what I've done is because if I didn't use this grant, they would have took it back from me. So I had no choice. I've already missed out on 2 years. The pandemic caused me to miss out on 2020. And 2019, it was a miscommunication. So I missed 2 years where I didn't get any funding. So now that I'm aware of bonds, I've been doing what I need to do to get donations, to be able to, for the community and the county to continue to be able to ride on the road. The county rides on the road, the school bus ride on the road, the UPS ride on the road, the trash trucks. Yes, I understand it's private property, but as far as the community as a whole, it's enough crime out here. And instead of being difficult and taking my vehicles and blocking off the road altogether and making people where they have to park up the street and walk to their house because it's private road, I just feel like we should work together. And
Ms.
that
Prosper,
three-
your 3 minutes up.
Okay,
Anybody?
I'm sorry.
That's okay, no. Whose district is that?
That's mine.
Okay. Any resolution?
Well, today's probably not a good day to get into it, but Ms. Krosky's road, I wish the private roads in my district looked as good as her private road looks. When bonds came out, they interviewed everybody on the road, and having it paved to the end of the road, like she is stating, is not the goal of the people in the neighborhood. The guy that lives right next door, I interviewed him, talked to him. They're fine with the road they have now. They really don't want the road paved down to the end because they don't want people driving to the end of the road. So I've got roads and other private roads in the district that the school bus cannot go down, that the mailman will not take his vehicle down it because the road is so bad. And I've been on this road. I understand she wants to pave it so her child can ride a bicycle and a hoverboard
As well as grandkids.
and grandkids. And I wish I
People,
could.
other people, grandkids, not mine. And the community said they didn't tell Doug that.
Okay,
And again, I live on a private road myself. We paved it, we had to pay to pave it too. So I understand having it paved. I wish I could pave my mother's private road, to be honest with you, but I can't. So, again, I've tried to tell you that I'd be glad to talk with you about this, but
You want to answer, so. But after that mistake, it just draw bad blood between us. But it should be like husband and wife.
But
Husband
I
and
would
wife
not
disagree.
apologize for my support
I
of
understand.
Jones
I
Road.
agree with you. You
I've given
did.
more money to Jones Road than I have to Wind Lakes, Sturbridge, Town
Through
Lakes.
bonds, I don't know what you're doing through bonds. I don't have anything to do with bonds. I don't have anything to do with other people's
And the
road.
road you're
And my
referring to
neighbors, is no
Perkins
neighbor that
Road.
says they're
It's
not.
impassable. It was impassable for those people to get up and down the road. Ambulance couldn't get to the house.
But you-
My Pike Road Volunteer Fire Department could not drive to people's houses if they had emergency. So I'll try to help those people first, and I would love to pave your road where your children, your grandchildren.
No, I don't have any
everybody-
grandchildren. The community
you're-
as a whole
I would
have
love to pave it
grandbabies.
if I could, but I really can't.
okay. So you all still gonna talk about it?
We'll
or-
be glad to talk about it. She'll call me, and I'll be glad to talk to her.
Okay, I try calling them again and I screenshot if I don't get an answer because the neighbors, I'm gonna bring them all down here. No one said they don't want the road paved.
Well, that's what the information from Bonds was, so
Okay.
maybe they're all wrong, I don't know.
Okay, well, I bring the neighbors in the community.
Possibly get with Commissioner Singleton. We usually follow the lead of the person who represents that particular district, so hopefully
Okay.
you all can straighten it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hope, what's a good time? Can I ask on public, what's a good time to call you where you'll answer the phone?
And I think you will find that you talk to anybody in my district, anybody in this room, anybody in Montgomery County, I answer the phone.
Okay, but I'm asking
But-
for me.
But again, I do not respond after people have, if everybody in my district just decide they'd go out and spend money, then come back to me and say, hey, here's my credit card bill, you need to pay this for me now.
No, I didn't say you need to pay it. I
You're
asked.
asking for 3,000, Commissioner Sankey gave you 1,000 the last meeting.
Okay, see, I haven't gotten it. I'm sorry, Sanka. I know I heard you say it, but I thought maybe he had
Okay,
stopped
well,
it.
Okay, we got to move on.
Okay, well, I will be calling you this evening. It's 5, after 5 is good? Okay.
Okay, let's see, Chief Deputy, DA, as a teller. Commissioners, Dan, did, you I wanted the whole commission, I know Dan met with the DA, and I met with the DA, I don't know if anybody else met with the DA. I wanted the whole commission to see what we saw. We talked, I guess a couple of meetings ago, Dan was saying that we needed to get together and make a statement about crime. I also heard Rhonda was talking about the crime and stuff in her area. I've heard Doug talk about the mentoring program to capture some of the crime, to stop the crime and stuff like that. But what the DA showed me, and I think what it showed Dan, it just, you know, it would really scare you. So, so what you see now is some information and films and stuff that they captured on some of these shootings and things. And I didn't know they had the capability, and so, has he?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for allowing me to be here today. We met with some of the commissioners and with video. We don't always have video on criminal cases, but in these videos that you're about to see, we do. And what I want to stress is we know crime's a problem. We can do whole rallies and do walks all day long. That's awareness. We already know that it's a problem, and I was excited to hear that the city and the county may be joining efforts to combat the problem. So we're going to start with the snapshot of kind of what we do. I'll skip through some of the slides so we can get to the video. So this is just a small fraction of cases. Like I said before, we don't always have the opportunity to have video. 2021, a lot of business, because of crime, a lot of homeowners, a lot of residences are getting surveillance cameras, so we have the ability in some cases to capture it. Yes. Right now in our office, we have a total of 217 cases, homicide cases. Not talking about the burglaries, not talking about any of the property crimes. 70 of those cases are capital murder cases, and non-capital cases, your manslaughters, your just regular murders, are 147. So it's on the rise. You can skip through that. Just go ahead through that one. They want to see the video. Okay. I have to give this disclaimer before showing these videos. The defendants that are captured in these videos are presumed to be innocent, and the charges right now against them are only accusations. The first one is State versus Michael Ferris, who has multiple felony charges. If convicted, he can be sentenced to life without parole. In this particular case, he and one of his neighbors were involved in an argument. Mr. Ferris' dog ended up killed, and he assumed that the victim had killed the dog. We don't know that to be the case, but that's what he thought, and that's where we get to what you're about to see.
It's graphic, y'all. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, if
don't wanna
you
look,
are
don't
weak in the stomach, you may want to leave it. It's
graphic.
graphic.
Go ahead. You want me?
No.
No. And if you see where the white truck is in a building, you will see the victim in blue shorts walking around and entering the gate. Shortly thereafter, you will see the defendant that's charged. This is in broad daylight, middle of the day. And he shoots and kills him. And you see that vehicle that's leaving, they say they saw nothing or heard nothing. And that's where our job gets tough with using our investigators in our office, trying to get witnesses to come forward to testify. This next video is at Highland Village Apartments. They have an annual get-together, an annual neighborhood party every year. You're going to see the defendant in this case in the orange shirt. He doesn't even live in the neighborhood. He gets into an argument with the driver of a black SUV, and then you're going to see shooting to begin, and we'll point out who the defendant is in the video. And he has been convicted of attempted murder already. If you would see in the orange shirt, That's the defendant. This is the black SUV that they got into an argument with. And you see shooting. And what I want to point out, that these same individuals are who you see when you go to East Chase, when you go to Montgomery Mall. It's not just confined to any particular side of town. They shop in grocery stores just like we do, and probably 98% of the time, they are going to be armed, whether you see it or not. This next case is State versus Jatari Bass. He was actually on bond for murder. And while he was out, on bond, he committed a robbery. He pled guilty to that robbery, and the court allowed him to still remain on bond for that. And so while he is at a crowded barbershop, he sees rival gang members. We don't know exactly what expired or if he recognized the vehicle, but we know that he sees who he believes to be rival gang members, and they're at a barbershop that's crowded with customers and with other people. And the defendant is the one in the hoodie. And if you notice, you don't see a weapon on him at this time. There he pulls the weapon. I can't tell you what he's thinking, but right now he's sending a message to who he believes are rival gang members. Yeah. And watch, once he goes inside, he's going to shoot from within the barbershop. This is a case that involved multiple juveniles. There's a group of teens that had a party next to the Boom Boom Room. Some type of altercation broke out between rival gangs, and then you will see what happens. And I just want you to note how many people are on standby to fire and how many fire. And you see the flashes of light, that's all gunfire. The United States saw about 25% increase in homicides in 2020 than in 2019. There is a trend all across the United States in violent offenses that are increasing, and that includes Montgomery County. And so basically this is our presentation, and real excited about, I can't be as happy as the Liberty Learning Foundation. My information is not that happy, but I am excited about you all taking an interest in violent crimes, and we appreciate the time.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, where are we? Thank you for this information. It's terrible. Where are we? I know that our courts shut down during COVID. Cases were just literally at a standstill. Are we back fully functioning yet?
We are functioning. We started trying cases in May, so there's at least one trial week. I know there have been since May about 2, maybe 3 murder cases that have been tried.
And I mean, these probably date back.
Right, they
several
date back.
years.
And while those prosecutors were trying those cases, one of them, there was 2 other murders committed that week, so it's almost impossible to catch up, because as they're trying murder cases, You know, we're getting about two, I think we're up to
Yeah.
number 41 for this year already.
We have 100 in the county jail waiting trial.
So we're still behind, but we are functioning. We have grand jury in session right now. We've done 2 or 3 grand juries this year already, and so we're getting back to normal.
We put a lot of emphasis on the need for policing, and we certainly do need a well-funded and fully staffed MPD. But the other pieces are what you guys do in the DA's office, and I would just ask that you continue to be as aggressive in prosecuting these people as you possibly can. And then we need judges who will keep them in jail.
Yeah, it doesn't work
The
unless
the
everybody's.
deterrent is not there from, and I know it's much more complicated than I make it, and I appreciate that I don't fully understand the system, but it takes every piece working in unison, and if one of those pieces is not determined to stop this, then it's not going to stop. But we appreciate what you guys are doing. I know it's an exhausting and brutal job. Just please be as aggressive. And I don't want to see deals.
Right.
I don't want to see these violent criminals getting deals cut.
Yeah, some people belong in prison, and that's
just-
the bottom line.
You know, what we're seeing here, and this is a large part of the reason we're losing our population in Montgomery. So,
But
thank
thank you as
you.
always for your support and the commission's support.
Anybody else? Okay. Oh, boy. So commissioners, when we start talking about what we're gonna do, you can see the task at hand,
We got to do something.
task at hand.
We got to be serious about it. We're not serious right now.
Okay. All right?
We'll have a public hearing.
Yes. I open a public hearing regarding application to the Department of Justice for the 2021 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. Anybody talk on it? Okay. Hearing none, I close the public hearing. Okay.
Consider the minutes of the regular meeting of July 6, 2021.
Move approval.
Any objection? So ordered. Oh, wait a minute, we got to vote, we got to vote. Been moved.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm trying to match this thing. I'm matching it. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Consider accounts payable checks and payroll checks.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered. Let's see. Okay.
Consider interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Montgomery for the 2021 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a professional services contract with the City of Auburn for law enforcement services at major sporting events and/or special events.
Move
Se-
approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered. Okay.
Consider 2020 annual report of insolvents, errors in assessment, and taxes in litigations for the Revenue Commissioner's Office.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a lease agreement with East Montgomery Investment Company for additional warehouse space for voting equipment.
Move approval.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider 2021-2022 annual community corrections plan for community corrections.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider county levies for alcohol licensing for new license types.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. During the meeting, additional appropriations were added. Chairman Dean, $1,200 to bonds for Memorial Heights. $1,000 to AUM Baseball World Series from Chairman Dean. $5,000 to Bellingrath Baseball World Series from Chairman Dean.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objections? So ordered.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations to education.
Move approval.
Was there any?
I think
Yes.
It
we
was.
we need to go back to our vote.
Hmm?
Okay.
I moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Wait a minute, where are we now?
Miscellaneous. they
You
got-
want education now.
No, they got approved miscellaneous appropriation. Yeah, education.
All right, now we'll consider miscellaneous appropriations to education.
I moved.
I second.
Any objection? So ordered.
I forgot to add one to designated, Florence,
Okay.
$5,000, cap out for side guide right. From designated.
Somebody, okay, with education, okay.
Next, we'll consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue. During the meeting, an additional $25,000 from joint revenue, $5,000 from Commissioner Harris for Kappa Alpha Psi Guide Light, $2,000 from Commissioner Walker for Deerfield Homeowners Association.
Move for approval.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
how are we going to handle the Act CDC?
We'll, if it's all right, we'll add that at the end as a waive rule
Okay.
item.
Second.
Any
Somebody
objection?
Yep.
Somebody second.
So ordered.
Consider a bid award to Stivers Hyundai for Sheriff's Office vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered. Back to the Act CDC, waive rules, they have to be 100%. She's against it.
All right.
Well, that should have been added to,
Yeah,
should have been added to designated,
yeah.
the same way that the Liberty was.
Well,
We were trying to do it as a separate
Could
vote,
she-
and so Tammy, can you drop it in
Couldn't
as,
she
the-
agree to waive rules but then vote against it?
Okay,
okay, we'll,
The vote would be any objection, there would be an objection.
yeah,
No.
yeah, okay.
thank you.
Isaiah?
Sir.
Sheriff Office vehicles? Waiting on you to vote.
Oh, are we?
Okay, gotcha.
Consider budget change request number 1 for the detention facility.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered. Okay.
Consider budget change request number 6 for the engineering department.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider budget change request number 3 for the personnel department.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider position fill requests for the detention facility for 2 corrections officer trainees and 2 corrections officer corporals.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider position fill request for the engineering department for a county traffic control tech 1 and a county road equipment operator 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a position fill request for information systems for an IT manager network infrastructure.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a position fill request for the tax and audit department for a revenue auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider position fill request for the youth facility detention for 4 juvenile detention officers.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider travel training requests for appraisal, the county commission, detention, risk management, the sheriff, and tax and audit.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
We'll consider,
Hold it.
oh, I'm
Nah.
sorry.
Somebody need a second? I second.
Any objection? So ordered.
What was that
travel. Okay,
Which item? Which item?
that was
Low
for
income
travel.
Weatherization.
Huh?
We have a waive rule item, consider agreement for low-income weatherization assistance program.
No objection, move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Waive rule item to,
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay. Okay. Are we missing Dan on the way? Oh, there it is. Okay.
consider agreement for weatherization assistance program.
I thought that's what we just did.
The other two.
It's
Oh,
two.
No
two.
objection,
Oh,
move
okay.
approval.
Yeah, okay.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Consider authorization of U.S. Department of Justice grant to prevent school violence by the District Attorney's Office for Helping Montgomery Families Initiative Program.
No objection, move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Isaiah? Okay.
Now, as a new business item, we'll consider miscellaneous appropriation from joint designated revenue in the amount of $25,000 to All Collaborating to Serve Community Development Corporation.
Move for approval.
That's-
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposers, same. Okay, motion passed 4-1. Okay. You got it? Okay. That's it?
That's
then?
all our items.
Okay. Mr. Turner, you have anything?
No, sir.
Commissioner Singleton?
Just, in the past, since we met here last time, we've had 2 teens that's been murdered in the city of Montgomery. And just remind everybody tonight, we have the Mentors Program. We're gonna meet at Riverwalk Stadium. If you have anybody that's interested in being a mentor, tell them to come to Riverwalk tonight. We're gonna feed them. We're gonna give all the mentees a hat and ticket to get in. So if anybody's interested in coming to the Biscuits game tonight, interested in the mentoring program, we'll be down there from 6 till about 7 outside with a table and a banner, and the game starts at 6:35.
Okay. Commissioner Sankey?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Walker?
Mr. Chairman, this week in City Council District 1, there was a special election. This is the City Council district that I live in, but it's also one of the 2 councilmen that I work very closely with to replace Richard Bollinger, who died earlier this year. As you know, the polls closed at 7. And thanks to the efficient work of our probate office, the race was called by 7:45. I know at my voting place, things were super smooth. We had plenty of workers there. It was just a great process. But I can appreciate some frustration with these elections because it was 7:45 and the probate judge formally called the election. I don't know the verbiage, but it was more than an hour later before the results were reported in the media. So that was interesting to me. So sometimes I know I even get frustrated sometimes when I'm not seeing election results, especially in bigger elections. But it's not the probate judge. There's sometimes a disconnect in how quickly the media reports the elections, and I don't know what's going on or why the delay. I'm sure they have their reasons, but thank you, guys. I see Octavius is here. Judge Love, I don't have my glasses on. So I appreciate what y'all are doing, and I also had to make some calls that morning, and, you know, y'all were out and about doing your job. It was just great. Y'all are very appreciated. So thank you for that. And for those of you who have not heard, the race went to a runoff between Ed Grimes and Donnie Mims. Ed Grimes got 49%, which was not the 50% plus one that he needed. Donnie Mims got 21%. And yesterday, Donnie Mims decided to concede the runoff and give the victory to Ed Grimes. So Ed Grimes will be sworn in as the newest member of the Montgomery City Council tonight at their city council meeting.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say good morning again to everyone, and we were long today, but we took care of a lot of business this day. We got some things done that needed to be done, and we do that all the time, but we took a little bit more time to dig into certain things that we needed to do. So I appreciate and applaud my teammates up here, because we're always concerned about our employees, always concerned about the virus. We're just concerned about a lot of things, and I think that we have a new guy with Montgomery Independent with us today that'll be covering us. You stand and tell them your name? Okay.
Are you with the Martin family? Are you a member of that family? Different Martins, okay.
Okay. Dan?
We have to renew our subscription there.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, and thanks for coming out. It was a long meeting, but it was informative and a really good meeting, and hit on some topics that are real close to me. That last thing that we saw, those 4 clips, they had one thing in common, and that was guns. And I guarantee you that every one of them that you saw fired or held was illegal. Something has to be done about that. There's no way for that many illegal weapons to be circulating in a city like Montgomery without somebody in some official capacity knowing something about it. You just don't move that kind of contraband illegally around a town the size of Montgomery and not have some help. I just don't think that the authorities, the local authorities, are doing what they can do and what they should be doing to get these illegal weapons off the streets. We can do all the work we want to do in trying to cut it off, address the root cause and all these things, but the ones that kill, the ones that need to go to jail, the ones that these programs won't do any good, they're going to continue to get their hands on these guns as long as they're just that easy to get a hold of. As citizens, what we can do, we can lock our car doors. Those of us who carry guns in the cars, we can lock our car doors and protect our homes and stuff like that. But that's not where they're getting them from. I read an article the other day. They're getting them off military installations. You know, so we've been approached. I have, and I'm sure every commissioner has been approached by a group that's coming together, and there's going to be millions in federal money that's directed toward addressing these types of issues. You know, and I hope that the commission takes it serious, and we get involved and really do this joint effort with the city and the federal government, because it's going to take ATF, it's going to take the FBI, it's going all the alphabets, you know, to get a handle on this thing. You know, it was one thing when I was a kid. Yeah, we had fights, and you know, but you might get hit upside the head with a stick, or you might get cut, but you weren't going to get shot. I mean, that's just too many guns, you know, and we can try to teach people how to resolve resolutions without resorting to violence, but, you know, that's one thing. But if they got to resort to violence, let it be a violent slap upside the head or a violent stick on the leg or something, not a bullet to the brain. you know, and that's what caught me about that. And the other thing, and Commissioner Walker kind of hit on it, I don't know, I've always had a problem with electing judges, and I think it does something to them when they have to stand for election. I don't care if it's every 6 years or whatever, but they're going to do things that please people. And there's absolutely no reason why that guy should have been out of jail. None, zero. I mean, he was on bail, did a robbery, and got on bail again. He shouldn't have been on bail for the murder. You know, and the state legislature has done some things to make sure that you can keep people like that locked up, and they should be doing it. And if they are going to stand for election, we should remember that. We should remember the judges who were responsible for putting these people back on the street.
Just keep electing them.
You know, I'm all for, believe me, I'm all for alternatives to locking people up. But I do know that that guy that walked up and put that bullet in that boy's head, there ain't no program for him but jail. That's the only program that's going to help him. Away from other people so he doesn't do it to anybody else. So there's certain people that just can't, and you have to treat it that way. So I mean, I'm ranting and raving, but you know, that's just, it's on my heart. It's what I feel, and I've felt it for a while. We need to stop making excuses for criminals. That car drove right by that murder. That gunshot was loud. They saw it.
Yep, they did.
And they refused to testify. They refused to work with the DA to get them arrested. But they're the first ones to come down here and complain that we're not doing anything in that neighborhood. That's wrong. And I know see something, say something is just something, it's a cliche, but it is what has to happen if things are going to improve around here. You're going to have to start telling on these people that you know are doing wrong in your community. And I hope Facebook is listening. You're going to have to start doing that. If you don't do that, then we're doomed. So with that, you know, we count on one thing. We're going to be doing everything we can to bring an end to this gun violence. It has to stop. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
I know we've been long, but I just got to have this guy come down and tell us what he think. He's been on both ends. I respected him when he was the police chief. I respect him now. Chief Murphy, will you come down here and tell us what you think the difference is when you're under your leadership and what's going on since that time? Because that many murders and stuff were not going on.
Well, I think this past Saturday illustrates exactly something that is going to address the problem. MPD, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and the state troopers had an initiative this weekend. I don't think it's a secret that we're having a problem with drag racing in the city, Camaros and Dodge Chargers, Mustangs, and with it brings a lot of mischief, drugs, and we have had some shootings. This weekend, three agencies got together and we addressed the problem. They even used the helicopter from the state to assist us in what we believe to be were going to be some pursuits, which did happen. One pursuit the deputies were involved in. Guy was driving up the Northern Boulevard at a very high rate of speed. He ditched the car. The person in the chopper was able to track him to a backyard. He was huddled behind a shed. We took him into custody. In his car were 2 semi-automatic rifles, drugs, pistols. Again, that's, you know, as Commissioner Harris said, that's the root problem there.
Kevin, can you share how old the suspect was?
I believe he was in his late 20s.
Is he still in jail?
I do not know.
Will you find out and let me know, please?
I will.
Because I bet he's not still there.
Well, you know, I think the challenge for any, like Chief Harris, who's now the new chief of the city, and Sheriff Cunningham, is enforcement, but balancing, you know, constitutional rights. We don't want to have an oppressive law enforcement component in our community. But, you know, and I tell my folks all the time, we need to police smarter, not harder. You know, we need to think about how we approach these problems. And, you know, back 37 years ago when I started, we just throw a huge amount of staffing into an area neighborhood with police canines and bicycle officers and narcotics and the SWAT team and the helicopter. It looked really impressive. But the people of those communities were suffering. The people that owned homes, that worked, you know, they were almost felt like they were in an occupied, militarized zone. That does not work. It's almost counterproductive, counterintuitive. So, you know, the approach now is more surgical, more under the radar, more purposeful in locating the people that are committing the crimes and not stepping all over the homeowners, the people in the community. So it does take a lot of effort and research, and a lot of mind power to put these things together. You know, the sheriff's real big on it, as all of you know. So when we approach a problem, we think it through, and we do our homework and our research, like we did this weekend. I will say that I've had a lot of feedback from the stores up and down the boulevard who thanked us for our presence and asked us to please maintain it, and I'm sure we will.
Thank you. Again, we can pour millions into policing, and y'all are doing it smarter, and I always appreciated your approach. Smart, data-driven, where are we going to go? But if we don't keep these people in jail, it's not doing us any good. And for the past couple years, these people are not staying in jail, and they're right back on the street. It's a revolving door. So thank you for what you're doing. We got to keep doing it. We've got to have the other legs of the stool, of the criminal justice stool. We've got the DA, the judges, and the police. We've got to have them all working on the same thing. And that's keeping the people in jail that are walking up point blank and murdering people, because we don't want to live in a militaristic, you know, I hear what you're saying, but now people are living in fear.
Sure.
And that's not okay either.
Well, something we're seeing,
They're
Commissioner
in
Harris.
fear to go to the store. They're in fear that they're going to get caught in the crossfire. They're in fear to let their children go out and about in the evenings.
Something Commissioner Harris pointed out a moment ago, and something I've seen evolve in 37 years of this profession. It was unheard of when I was growing up, and even as a young officer, for a juvenile, a teenager, to have a weapon, a firearm. But it is very common now, very common, and to the point it's scary. And you know, these young people aren't being held accountable, so they grow into, you know, a lifetime or an adulthood of being armed and ready to use it.
Well, and a little bit on the opposite of that. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, and almost every guy I knew had a weapon. And oftentimes that weapon was in their truck. And that weapon was for deer hunting and shooting birds and, you know, that kind of thing. So a weaponized society has been around for many, many generations. I realize that things have shifted, but, you know, young men have had guns for generations.
But what about the automatic weapons? I mean,
We're shooting
that's just
animals, not people.
too many automatic weapons. Where are they being bought on the retail market, or where are they coming from?
Most
The-
of them are
these-
stolen.
So-
They break into a
A
home,
lot of them are stolen.
and they'll steal them, an
card
AR-15
and
or a tech, or, I mean, it's not uncommon. And again, most of the weapons that are found on the streets, 99% of them are stolen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a pipeline from the southeast going up to the northern cities. New York is an example. And, you know, we collaborate with other agencies, and they show that a lot of these weapons cross state lines and go up north. You know, a weapon on the street of Montgomery, a stolen Glock, will command about a $25, $30 price, whereas in New York, it's about $100. So,
Okay. All right, Chief, we appreciate
yes,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. We got to close out this meeting, and then go to budget hearing, okay? Do I have a motion for closing the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. We will retreat to the conference room.